Well, you did an interview with Sports Illustrated in July. You talked about Sports Center and so forth, but you also talked about Colin Kaepernick. And I guess he had reached out to you before he agreed to do business with Disney.
Correct.
So before that point, what was your relationship with Kaepernick?
Colin and I, it's funny because our stories wind up being kind of slammed together. And I think it was, obviously he was in the news way before I was because of the protest that he started in 2016. And the president attacked him several times. I mean, he became a political talking point. And then fast forward, a year after his protest, I get into my own trouble with Trump. Colin was one of the first athletes who publicly supported me during that time. And because I was very vocal about how he was treated unfairly by the NFL, about him being blackballed, and just always trying to remind people the reason he was protesting, which examples were littered throughout society, and to remind people of why he was protesting and what he said about these protests. I was one of the more vocal and visible supporters of Colin. And so the few times we had run into each other in public spaces, like we were at an awards ceremony together where he was being honored and I also was being acknowledged. And it was all love. I talked to his mom and, his lovely girlfriend, Nessa, and him. And, it's great. It's one of those things where what's understood need not be said. Like we had a mutual respect without having to communicate all that often. And so when he called me, I was really surprised. I had been in communication with his girlfriend here and there, but I was still very surprised that he called because, Colin Kaepernick does not have to factor me into any decision that he makes in life, period. Like this is I'm a speck on his radar for the most part. But because of the way that he's built and because of his principles, what he didn't want to do is engage in a business relationship with a company that in his mind had not supported a Black woman that deserved that support. People are always questioning whether or not he's in it for real. No, he's in it for real. And I'm not just saying that because he called me. I would have said that regardless. I am not surprised he's the type of person to do that, even though I was surprised to get that phone call. So when he called me, he wanted to know what happened between me and ESPN. He wanted to know the details, or as much as I would be willing to share with him, so that he knew what he potentially might be getting into, or if it was a warning signal for him that maybe these aren't the kind of people that I really want to be involved with. And I was honest, but I was also fair. And I felt like the opportunity to work with Disney and ESPN gave him a really unique chance to do something culture changing. It's not that many opportunities that you get that can change the culture of a place, but he is going to get that opportunity. And I thought that was the most important thing that needed to happen and continue at ESPN and Disney, is that they need culture disruptors, and he's one.